My name is Izabela Zubrycka, and I am from Poland, actually from the east part of Poland. Uh, but my university is Łódź Film School, and I am studying directing there. I just finished second year. So yes, and the movie which I will present is Handful of Dirt. And this movie is short documentary, which the main protagonists are one of the last funeral singers in Podlasie, which is, east part of Poland, and her son, which is gravedigger. And this movie is basically like we try to really like catch the philosophy of those unique funeral old songs. And yes, this is some kind of spiritual journey through the old ritual. Uh, this is quite interesting story, I think, because this movie it started with the funeral singing course, which was made. This event was made like no, it's not like it was an event. It was course made in a very local museum, and I was a participant of this course, and I was the youngest participant, and there was very few people. And there I've met Halina, which was one of the singers who tried to teach us those old songs. Yes, and I was the youngest participant, and since the very beginning, Halina really looked for me like extraordinary person, and I found some kind of melancholy in her. And I don't know, like this movie really came to me by accident. I didn't plan to do this, but when I've met Halina, it was for me like quite obvious that I will try to be closer to her and to this topic. And yes, that started. And when I've met her, it just came out during our shooting that her son is a gravedigger. So it's just, I don't know, like I've never met people who are just, like their whole life was concentrated in death. That's, I think, quite unique. Yes, so when we started to make this movie with Stefan Żółtowski, he is the cinematographer, we just started to make this movie in more standard way. We tried observation. We tried to make this, in very classical way somehow. And it just turned out that it's not very interesting. So we found another way and we started to think, okay, how it would be if the camera would be like the, soul after death. How it would be if we could be closer to the philosophy of those songs, to the atmosphere of this world, to the atmosphere of those characters, more than to the, just showing their life how it is. So we started to think this way, and it was like this that before shooting, I was planning to do some things because I knew these characters quite well before we started shooting. So, for example, there is a lot of clocks in this movie, and these characters, like this Andre, he's really always just, I don't know, just repairing those clocks. And we could show this in classical way, but we choose to make this like metaphor a little bit, to show this a little bit like a symbol maybe. So before every shooting, I was preparing list what I think I would like to shoot. But of course, when we were going to shooting, everything was just very different, and we were using what the reality was giving to us. So I would say that the creative process was some kind of combination between intuition, planning, and just taking from the real world what we needed. So this is like something like this. Yes, in general, I have my philosophy in documentary is like this, that you can really make a dream, but use the reality. And for example, in cinematography, it worked like this a little bit in this movie, but also with the sound. Every sound in the movie was made like it was recorded on the set. It was recorded with these people. It was recorded in their house, and later we transformed this into something bigger. But what I think, like also with the sound, the very important element of this movie is those funeral songs. And I invited a folk band to perform those songs. Maybe not even like folk band, but these people were really people who were singing those funeral songs years ago. And I asked them to perform those songs, and it just became like some kind of leitmotif of this movie.